Kyoku makes some pretty decent knives, but are they really worth the asking price? Well, that's up to you. Hey guys, so obviously, if you couldn't tell by the title and the intro and probably the thumbnail, we're taking a look at Kyoku knives today. Now, full disclosure, Kyoku did sponsor me for this video. They sent me 2 of the 4 knives we're looking at. I already own 2 of their knives. They sent me 2 more, and that being said, I'm staying completely honest with you guys. There are some things about their knives that are questionable, and I'm not going to gloss over those just because I got some free knives. So that being said, let's go ahead and get to it. The knives that I have here that we're going to be looking at are the Nakiri, the Santoku, the bread knife, and the cleaver. Now, we're not going to look at these knives individually and review each one because that's not really necessary. What we're going to be doing is talking about them as a whole because they're all made the same way. They all use the same steel, same handle. So we're just talking about the overall quality of the brand and the product itself. So the first thing we want to do before we even really get into the knives is the unboxing. Now, the knives are already here. They're not in the box, but I do have a box right here. And we're just going to open it up, talk about it for a second, then we'll get into the nitty-gritty of everything. Now, I know I said in the last video, the Lamson Bradleone knife, that packaging isn't that important, but it kind of is. And to kind of come back around on that, while packaging doesn't ultimately matter, it's nice to have, and it inspires confidence in the product, and Kyoku definitely pulls this off. It's a really nice box, and then when you pull it off, you've got this little sleeve here. And then the box kind of pops open right there. It's almost feels like a magnetic seal. You get in here, you got the little plastic that the knife was in. You've got a little Kyoku brochure looking thing. And just, a little thank you for buying with, contact information on the back and everything like that. And then it's all settled in this really nice foam. As I said, when I recommended my Nakiri, the knives come with a blade guard, and it's actually a pretty nice blade guard. Not a lot of knives do that, so that is really nice with the packaging. And then we actually, look at a knife as we unbox it, because you guys know me, I keep my notes right here. I wrote these notes with the intention of reboxing a knife. I didn't do that, but we're going to talk about it for a second as if we just pulled this knife out of the box. The first impressions on it, the knife is a little heavy, a little bit, just a touch heavier than I like. And it's like that with all these. They're heavy knives, but some people like heavy knives. I used to like heavy knives, but I've moved on to, liking lighter ones as I feel like I have a little bit more control. But these are all great. The heaviness of them is really going to move through the food, help you move through it. It's the only bad thing that I have to say, just looking at it out of the box, because otherwise, it's got that sloping grip right here that makes it really comfortable to hold and encourage the pinch grip. Additionally, I've bitched about this in the past on other knives. The spine of the knife is actually a little bit rounded and smoothed out, which makes it a lot more comfortable when you're actually going to be pushing into the food and you're not going to have anything biting into your hand. So that's really nice. I like that a lot. And then lastly, let me get on the big guy here so you can really see it. We have that beautiful Damascus patterning, which is always just a nice little aesthetic touch for knives. Those are the first impressions, but let's talk about the real details of the knife. I want to start with the bad stuff first. After I recommended the Nakiri from my Sam the Cooking Guy video, I got a little bit of a tip off that Kyoku is a Chinese knife reseller, basically saying what they do is they get knives that are made in China and they rebrand them with their stuff, repackage them, and resell them at a premium price. I asked my Kyoku rep that I was speaking with that contacted me and sent me these knives and everything. I asked them about that, and they were not able to confirm that was true. And now, I honestly, just based on the conversation I had with the rep, I honestly don't think that they were just flat out lying to me. I think that they really didn't know. They were able to confirm that the knives are made in China, but they weren't able to confirm if other brands were manufactured at the same place, in the same building. And so naturally, I started to do a little bit of research on my own. And you go to websites like AliExpress or Alibaba, You search, say, VG10 Nikiri. This is a VG10 Nikiri. You're gonna find knives that are identical to this. And like the real tell, identical other than the branding on the blade that Kyoku stamped there. But the real tell is the handle. They have this sloping handle with 2 rivets and the mosaic pin. And then, the heel kind of comes back right here. So that's some pretty damning evidence. And then one other thing I noticed too, I got a sponsored post for Dowstrong, who you guys have probably heard of Dowstrong. I've never used their knives. I've gotten requests to do them. But I saw a Dowstrong knife, and again, the handle was identical to this one. So while I wasn't able to 100% confirm that that's the practice that's happening with these knives, it's hard to say that it's not. Now, the other thing is that this is not true VG10 steel. Now, Kyoku is honest about this on their website, very open about it. True VG10 steel is manufactured by Takefu Steel in Japan. And the reason that they don't use that true Takefu VG10 steel is because the company actually restricts the sale to non-Japanese knife makers because they want to keep it in Japan and give them first dibs on the usage of the steel. So what Kyoku has done, or whoever actually is in charge of making the knives, they use what's called globally sourced VG10. And it's chemically almost completely identical to Takefu VG10. So much so that most people can't really even tell the difference. So now what about the good aspects of the knife? There's a big misconception, especially with knives, that Chinese made automatically means bad. And oftentimes it can, but that's not true. It's not always a bad thing. These knives are still hand forged by Japanese bladesmiths. These still have great construction, great build quality. They feel good. They work well. I've used this knife, this Nikiri, I've used for about 2 years, and it has never failed me. Chinese made does not always mean bad, and this is no exception here. Like I said, I've been using this Nikiri for 2 years, and the steel has excellent edge retention, excellent toughness. I've only sharpened this thing a couple times in the 2 years that I've had it, with pretty frequent use, almost daily use. It's a great knife. I really like it, and while I haven't used the other ones as much, they're gonna perform the same. They're gonna hold up as well. They're gonna be just as tough, and that's because VG10, it's almost identical to the Takefu VG10. VG10 is considered one of the best all-around Japanese steels. It's not going to perform any other Japanese steels, and the aspects of steel that you look for in a knife, such as toughness, hardness, edge retention, things like that. But it's not going to lack in any of those categories. So it's kind of got middling stats all the way down, where it exceeds some in others, but doesn't, you know what I mean. And then the other thing, again with the handle, this is a G10 handle. And what G10 is it's, I forget the exact way that it's made, but it's essentially a hard fiberglass handle that's incredibly durable and impervious to super high and low temperatures. So it's really, really, really well made. I can't stress enough that I love this knife. So you've got the good, you've got the bad, and we've got that big bad one right there, that rebranded Chinese knife. So why would you buy through Kyoku instead of Alibaba or AliExpress? Well, I can give you a few reasons. First off, the sale is going to be more reliable and faster. When you buy through these giant Chinese Amazon type sites, you can often end up with a different product than what you ordered, or just no contact or anything like that, and shipping takes forever. You're looking at 2 to 3 weeks for anything you order from AliExpress. Whereas Kyoku, you're getting this knife within the week. Now additionally, what Kyoku does that they put on these knives that the sellers on Alibaba, AliExpress aren't, is a lifetime warranty. So if anything happens to your knife, if it chips or it breaks or anything like that, Kyoku's gonna replace it. And that's a big one right there. Now, you know, knives, I've never actually broken a knife, but I'm also very careful with them. But VG10 can break. You know, you've got a Rockwell hardness right around 60, and that's when you start getting into like the brittle area with knives, where if something happens, it can break, it can chip pretty bad. And so you're covered if anything like that happens to it. And then Kyoku, not just from me talking to them, but from what I've read, they have excellent customer service. You know, like that card that comes in the box, they give you all different ways to contact them if anything happens. So if you do have any issues with the knife, they're right there to help you with it. And again, this blade guard. Guys, this is a really nice blade guard. It's like a nice, you know, textured plastic, and the inside of it is actually kind of, you know, like felt or some sort of, you know, some sort of cloth type deal. I can't think of the word, but you know what I mean. It's fuzzy. It's fuzzy. So, you know, that kind of covers it A to Z with, you know, what I think about the knives, the good, the bad, should you buy it, things like that. Should you buy it? Is it worth it? Well, that's up to you. Is it worth it to you to pay the extra money to get everything that I just talked about? In my eyes, yeah, I would order a knife through Kyoku and not deal with the hassle, especially because I'm impatient, and when I order something, I want it right away. So I'm willing to pay that premium. But if not, then maybe it's not for you. So that's your decision. Now, if you do decide you want to buy the knife, I do have an affiliate link in the description that you can buy through. So that about wraps it up. You guys know what to do. Those buttons down there. Tell YouTube you like me. If you like this video, or if you have ideas for things you want me to do in the future, obviously let me know in the comments down below. You know, and as I've mentioned in the past, I do have a Patreon. If you guys want to help me out and support me, that's a great way to help out there. Also, you want to hang out with me, you can join my Discord. Both those links, along with all my other socials, are in the description. And lastly, I was actually holding off on doing this, but I had a viewer who wants to remain anonymous reach out to me because they wanted to send me a knife so that I could do a video on it. And it's a nice knife. It's actually now one of the nicest knives I own. So, you know, I'll be doing a video on that knife, which, you know, I'm not going to spoil it right now what it is. I'll be doing a knife on that pretty soon. But my point is, I have a P.O. box now. So if you want to send me anything, cool stuff, weird stuff, anything like that, the address, again, description down below. Anyway, love you guys. See you soon.